Hi, I'm Jason Lee. Match fixing has been called the biggest threat to professional sports. Once fans stop believing in the integrity of sporting competitions, we risk losing everything. The rules are very clear. 1. Fixing any part of a match is a crime, whether it affects the final result or not. 2. You must report any suspicious approaches as soon as possible. This film from the Professional Players Federation will look at the different types of match fixing, what betting companies are doing to detect match fixing, and the devastating impact on the players involved.
Our traders are fully trained to notice any suspicious activity on any market in any of the sports where they are specialists. So they would be able to look at any one market or any event within a market and be able to say, that doesn't look quite right. Do I need to flag that to the numerous other departments we've got in the business that can look at that and maybe investigate and see if there really was a cause for suspicion.
Now the bookmakers are a business and most markets are fairly steady. So when you get a big movement in the market because there is a fix, it becomes apparent. And normally the bookmaker will then notify the sport, they'll notify the regulator such as the Gambling Commission, and they may even notify the police, because it could lead to a criminal conviction if you get involved in that. So it's highly likely that if you get involved in match fixing that it will come to light and you will be caught. And the match fixer will walk away and go to the next player and the next player, but it's you, your career and your reputation that will be gone.
It's really important that players understand that there's no time limit to being caught out if they have committed some kind of corruption within their sport concerned with gambling, because all of the records are kept. Certain videos of the event will be existing and can be looked at. Messages can also be looked at. So you can't ever be sure that something has been swept under the carpet, because rest assured, once one thing comes to light, everything else will be looked at. Tracing these things back to an individual player, person, club or group of players is quite easy, and we've seen it happen and we've seen the sanctions that have been handed out, because the systems are sophisticated. They do have a number of ways of tracking all of the bets that are placed. They exist forevermore in our system. They exist against the customers that have signed up. And once the authorities get hold of that, they are able to go into phone records, they can go into WhatsApp records, they can go into anything to further their investigation.
Players often don't realise that there are real repercussions to getting involved in any aspect of breaching the rules, because it's not just about losing your livelihood, losing your opportunity to play the sport you love. It's also about your reputation. It's about your family's view of you. It's about your family's reputation, because when people get caught for this, there's a real stigma attached to it because you have cheated. Often players will think, well, this is really great, isn't it? They're going to give me £5,000, £10,000 to fix a match or whatever. And for some players at the beginning of their career, that's an enormous sum of money. So you can see why players might be tempted. And it's really, really important to think about what you're actually letting yourself in for. I mean, there's a case I dealt with recently where the player was offered €10,000 to give an exact score outcome in their match, a single player sport. That player delivered. And went to collect the money from the match fixer, and he got €2,000. And the match fixer saying, right, I want you to fix another match and another match, because you are now beholden to those people. So you've sold your soul to the fixers, and it's really, really difficult position to be in. I've dealt with cases. An example is a player who was party to another player being approached to fix a match. That player didn't report that approach, so ultimately they were convicted of failing to report a corrupt approach. That player was banned for 12 months and was to pay £15,000 in costs towards their hearing. Every time that player plays now, they'll be known as the match fixer. Spot fixing carries exactly the same penalties as fixing the outcome of a match. It's not any better. You're more likely to get caught, and if you get caught, the ramifications are really serious. You lose your career, your reputation, and all for doing something that you thought wasn't as bad as throwing a match. And it's still potentially a criminal offence for which you could go to prison. In my experience, what I find is the approaches are fairly blatant. So you'll get a message on Facebook, private message, or you'll get something on Telegram, WhatsApp, WeChat, depending on where you are in the world, where they will blatantly say, do you want to make some money? So it's quite tempting for players at the lower end, thinking, well, I'll just do it once and it might save my career because I can get to the next series of events. Well, actually, you will be caught and it will end your career. And this is the real risk, and this is the message we want to get across to players. What you must do in those circumstances, you must report it. Players often worry about the repercussions of not doing something for someone they feel beholden to. And there have been cases in sport where players have been threatened by people as well. And the problem is that if you respond to those threats by doing what the threatener wants you to do, by fixing a match or whatever, you are beholden to that person forever because they have a hold over you, because match fixing is a criminal offence. So you could go to prison. So they've got a real hold over you then. So what you need is you need to seek help from the Players Association. You can do it in confidence. You can seek all sorts of advice. They can provide you with support of legal support. They can provide you with counselling support. All these things you can get through your Players Association if you approach them at an early stage.